Hello, welcome to Employee Horror Stories. Today we're going to be focusing on retail. Now, working in retail brings with it an expectation of cold pizza in the break room, Tim Hortons smile cookies, and generic birthday cards with everyone just writing happy birthday and their name from a bunch of people you don't really know. And enough is enough. Okay, so let's look at some egregious stories of people working in retail and some of their horror stories. The first one Reddit user answered the question, what does your store do to recognize employees? They said, employees at my location get plenty of recognition in the form of sell better, sell more, and what if you had sold X amount more? Yeah, that's not gonna make you feel really excited to sell more, especially in a retail situation where you don't really have a lot of training on sales a lot of the time. You're kind of thrown in there, taught how to use the cash register, taught how the inventory works. But in terms of selling, it's not often what that first front line is focused on or empowered to be skilled in. And so if sales are down and if this is something you want your employees to be focusing on more, I would suggest tying recognition to sales targets, but also empowering folks to learn how to sell and some tips of how they could be better in that area. And then tie recognition to it. If things are going great, be really specific with what people are doing a great job in terms of selling. But don't just say sell more and why haven't we sold enough? Presumably this person is the manager, and so they are responsible for answering those questions. Reddit user Ellie is done shared this posting. Effective immediately, all staff must leave their cell phones on and make themselves available when not on shift. Consider yourself on call. You must answer calls from Gary, and if you are asked to cover a shift, you must do so without complaints. This is not optional. We all need to work together to help the company succeed. Let's set some record profits this quarter. Go team. I love that go team is just no exclamation mark, no enthusiasm. It's at the end of this total dickhead message to employees, and then it's just oh shoot, I should probably make people feel excited. Go team. It's just not going to get the job done. This is ridiculous. Presumably this is not a workplace where people are on call, where people should be asked to cover shifts with no complaints. You must answer calls from Gary. Any workplace really, apart from a few very key ones, or if you're a doctor and you're actually on call, if you're not getting paid for it, you shouldn't be doing it. And so if I worked somewhere like this, if this was a retail location where I worked and my manager was saying I had to answer calls from them all the time, I had to switch shifts with people and couldn't complain, I would be looking for another job immediately. This clearly isn't somewhere that has labor laws front of mind or the well-being of their people. So I'd be looking for another job. Retail's tough across the board, but this is particularly not something that people should have to put up with. So yeah, this is so funny. We all need to work together to help the company succeed. It's well, if you're not paying people and motivating people, and if you're just posting passive aggressive posters in the break room, you're not going to be motivating people to help the company succeed. They're not going to want to help the company succeed because the company is full of jerks like this. Reddit user 2102cc shared, managers gave us all $5 gift cards to the store for our work during the holiday season. We've dealt with angry customers since Thanksgiving and have been short-staffed and working long hours the entire time too. But the best they could do was $5. At that point, don't bother giving anything. I totally agree with that. Oh, there's so much wrong with this. $5, a gift card to the store that you work at, and the fact that things have clearly been tough for at least a couple months in between Thanksgiving and the holiday season. They've been short-staffed, working long hours. $5 is so brutal. This person said it best. At that point, don't bother giving anything. Yeah, I think if you're gonna build a culture of recognition, you can do it a couple of ways. Non-monetary, not tying money to it. And if that's a really great culture that you have where people shout each other out and leave, notes for each other in the newsletter or whatever it is, that can actually go a really long way in building morale. Or if you have a limited budget, give more sizable amounts, but in smaller amounts. So do a draw for a $50 gift card instead of giving everybody $5. It just is this a kick in the teeth, and it doesn't really go very far in making people feel appreciated. You're better to build a culture of recognition that doesn't have money tied to it, and then rewarding 2 or 3 people with a more substantial reward. And if you're gonna give a gift card, make it a little bit more general, like somewhere like Amazon or somewhere, or ask the employee where they'd like a gift card to, ding, ding, ding. And just saying, I'll keep this part brief, but if you're using Guusto, you can send someone a Guusto gift, which then they can redeem at like 100 of our partner merchants. So they can literally redeem a $20 gift card at like Amazon, Uber Eats, Best Buy, like airline, blah, 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 whatever. And then it can be for something that they actually want and they're actually gonna find valuable. So, food for thought. Reddit user TaiChi27 shared, for Employee Appreciation Day today, we got cold hot dogs and Valentine's Day sugar cookies that went out of code 3 days ago. That's brutal. If I worked somewhere and they were like, oh yeah, Employee Appreciation Day, come to the break room, there's hot dogs. I mean, I do love a good hot dog, but it's just like a ridiculous scenario. Like, we dunk on pizza parties a lot, but at least a pizza party is like normal. Hot dogs are ridiculous to have as employee appreciation. So that's just my personal preference there. And then like, if you're gonna get cookies or a treat, like just make it seem like you care. Like, by getting dinky hot dogs and cookies that went out of code 3 days ago, it's just kind of clearly like, oh, we didn't think about this, we better do something. And honestly, you're better to like wait a week and be like, hey, we were really strapped last week, so we couldn't properly celebrate Employee Appreciation Day, but we're doing it today with thought and effort and care. Instead of trying to just tie together a bunch of random stuff like hot dogs and expired cookies. That you can just do, I promise you can do so much better. Anyway, couple more issues here with the whole hot dogs and expired cookies kind of thing. I feel like cold hot dogs probably have some health concerns, and if you want a fully functioning staff team in the next couple of days, maybe serve something that's edible and not gonna make people sick. Just a thought. New guy in Liverpool shared, previous retail job, we had a Celebrate Employees Day. To show appreciation for everyone's hard work, they put a pack of instant hot chocolates in the staff room. What? Again, not really normal, you know? Like, if you wanted to give everyone a nice hot beverage, you could go to like a tea store and buy a bunch of like little nice teas that they have, probably gift packs or something like that. But I feel like this was just like, oh crap, we forgot about Employee Appreciation Day. Hey, Bill, while you're on your way to work, go to the grocery store and get something. And Bill's just like, okay, I don't really know what to get. And then he just gets like a pack of hot chocolates. That's just so, again, careless. Like, similarly to the last one, if you forgot, that's okay. Just own it and be honest and do something with care and thought a week later. Don't half-ass it and get a pack of hot chocolates from the grocery store. Also, I feel like depending on the time of year, hot chocolate could really be a miss. For me, more of a winter beverage. But I do have a friend who drinks it year-round, and it's not right. I'll be honest. It's not normal. If you're wanting to make people feel appreciated, getting a pack of hot chocolates is not going to do it. Yeah, I don't know. Listen, this is the thing too. Retail workplaces and like frontline workforces, it's tough to engage employees and it's tough to improve retention. And as a frontline manager, like you often don't actually have a lot of power to drive a recognition program or something like that. So like, it's a tough industry. And I think the biggest advice we can give people is like, you don't have to do that much in recognition for it to go a long way and really stand out from other workplaces. Like, if someone comes from somewhere that's total, you know, terrible culture and like no culture of recognition, and you have, you know, a section in your monthly newsletter where people can shout each other out, or you have a monthly draw for like $50 or something like that, it goes a long way compared to a company that's doing this really, really, really badly. And so even if budget's limited, even if capacity is limited, by doing a little bit, you'll be driving retention and engagement, and as a result, performance, much more than if you're doing nothing at all. Also, because retention is such a challenge in many retail workplaces, it's kind of like a negative spiral where workers are then seen as disposable because workers come and go so often. This always really grinded my gears, but like, and they're seen as unskilled workers, where then in the pandemic, when there was only a handful of people that needed to continue working, it was these people. And so I just think like there's a real shift that can happen where like if you see like frontline employees in retail spaces as, you know, valuable and skilled workers and people who can really drive your business forward, they'll stay. Like that spiral can be reversed where if you don't see them as disposable and if you do see them as assets to the business, people will feel more engaged in their work and they'll feel that they're driving the business forward and they'll want to stick around and they'll want to stay and grow with the company and continue doing a great job and maybe moving up to being a manager. Like you can kind of grow the fruits of your labor if you don't see this segment of the workforce as disposable and unskilled. Like that's just kind of setting everyone up for failure. If you want to check out some ideas, feel free to check out Guusto. Until next time, my name's Julia. This is Employee Horror Stories. If you have horror stories that you'd like to share with us and that you'd like us to react to, feel free to comment them below or send them to horrorstories@guusto.com. Have a great day, everyone.